think T1 are too afraid of the Corki simply because as a team, they're definitely confident at driving the pace forward, you know? I think teams who go at a slower pace, or if it's an equal match, Corki can be really problematic. But I think T1 are confident they can just push the game pace forwards and not worry about Corki hitting that major scaling point. They are going to pick up the center themselves.
We'll give them a fair bit of sustain. You can play Center Seraphine and sort of hope to sustain, but you're not going to do that against 3-item Corki if Satab actually gets to that point. And this is what you were talking about. Just go for the engage.
Yep.
Ona going to be locking away the Nico, most likely for Faker. Of course, Faker, one of our premier Nico players, even before she was reworked and got a bunch better. He was our best Nico here in the LCK.
So typically how you see the draft pan out from here is the Corki kind of warps the whole draft and everything becomes about him. So T1 start to go for dive threats that can try and get on the Corki, and then Drx are like, okay, we need anti-dive.
Yeah.
They go for the Xayah, they're like, okay, Xayah can survive well against the Nico. We're going to pick up the Rakan as well, which is a solid peel champion, good lane with the Xayah. And then T1, I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up like the Nocturne or something along those lines. But there's still a lot of junglers available, so I don't feel like there's a heavy obligation to go for it. They could just look to secure that bot lane duo and pair up with the Senna.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Or just get a solid top lane pick there as well, and if you can get in amongst it, eliminating that part of the dive threat.
Yeah, Nocturne Nico is super strong. I think in this situation, I feel like Vi makes a lot of sense for T1 here, but they could hold off in their jungle.
Jarvan also could work theoretically.
Yeah, I think Jarvan pretty good into Xayah, not as good into Corki though.
What about Briar?
Yeah, I think you just go for the Vi. I'm going to be honest. And in terms of, you know, obviously Vi isn't... Oh, actually not going to go for it all. Going to go for the Viego.
That's a Viego.
Viego, yeah, halfway there.
Yeah. It's Vi with some extra steps.
But they clearly want strong skirmishing power early, not leading into the tank junglers. So, Drx, you already have a pretty weak mid laner who's going to need some time to get going. You need to be able to match up to Ona in the jungle if you're going to have a hope here. I like the K'Sante, especially into the Aatrox. You saw how much threat he was on the flank. The Aatrox can kind of just say... the K'Sante can kind of say no to the Aatrox and just drag him away into a dark corner and beat him up.
That is the hope. That is what Drx are going to go for here as Sponge's pick. That's what we're looking for. What is it going to be is the question. You mentioned something to deal with the Viego. Rel, also just something that Sponge is happy to play. Does help with their team fight at the same time. And Rel Rakan is something that we have seen work to pretty great effect in the past as well. So a well-rounded composition here from Drx. And you might look at it and be like, oh, but Xayah doesn't have a whole lot of range. They have Corki, so who cares?
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of the threats from T1 are going to be coming into you. I do think the Rel might feel a bit difficult to play. You know, playing Peel as Rel is definitely possible, but a bit trickier than it is just playing that straight engage role we often see. But I think it's fine. I feel like game 1 and game 2...
Oh, I love it!
Drx have really been okay, but you know, we know that the Corki is going to be a problem later in the game. Now you have this super scaling bot lane off the Ornn and the Senna. And realistically, I don't see a Xayah Rakan providing that much threat to them.
And the Senna Ornn is something that we saw Deft and Barrel play already, but what I wanted was the sneaky swap. Because Zeus' Ornn is so good, and he could just play tank v tank there towards the top side of the map and still do a good job, and then play Senna Aatrox in the bottom lane.
I'm not sold.
Not sold?
Not sold.
Yeah.
I don't think Aatrox will have too much fun.
So, an opportunity here for Satab to strut his stuff on the Rift with the big Corki. Let's get into game 2. All right, here we are onto the Rift for the second game of our first series of the day. Drx moving towards the blue side now with the Corki composition.
Yep.
A composition that T1 have destroyed in the past. In fact, the final day that both of these teams played last week was exactly the day that it happened.
I feel like a big thing with Corki comps is it all becomes about the dragons. Just because once you start getting the package, you start syncing it up. If T1 can get the early dragons, it kind of slows down the soul stacking. It means you can opt out if there's not a good setup. If someone eats, you know, a big one, takes a bit of poke. But something that I think is a really effective strategy against Corki teams is being able to start up a Baron
So maybe that was just enough to move him out of the way. His grand entrance once again. No flash here from Carrier. It could be another first blood for DRX as he's burning. The flash comes through and Carrier walks it off. Oh, it's so close here for DRX on the bottom side. And Carrier has teleport. He can just be straight back here. So this is what the space was kind of talking about, and that is that naturally T1 are just doing a lot more winning. As Satab, that's an aggressive move. Letter is here though, looks for the knockup, does get it there onto Faker. Just on the edge, in fact. So nicely done, able to trade back nicely. But you can see Satab just teleporting back, now doesn't have a bunch of his health. And Faker in a similar boat, to be perfectly honest, but Satab with just the tier stacking up. In comparison to the two books, Faker is well read. He is known for his reading of books, but he is going to be able to do so in lane as well. And oh man, catches him right on the end as Satab going aggressive. Faker, just flashes, picks that one up. I believe that was the empowered auto there as well. And so Faker, first blood, solo kill.
Just from Satab, I think kind of overestimating his damage. Bear in mind, he had just a tier compared to the two Amp Tomes. I think he was hoping for just a little bit more in that trade to try and turn it around. Very aggressive play from both sides, but Faker ends up coming out ahead and adds one more to that kill tally.
Only 6 to go before 3,000. Just such a huge milestone. Not sure when we're ever going to see another player make it to it. Would like to have sort of the list of players and the numbers that they're up to, because I imagine everyone's pretty far away from where Faker's at, just given the longevity and the fact that Death took some time in the LPL.
Yep.
As another one. Faker just finding these tangle barbs over and over again.
I think as well, there's a lot of supports who have a ton of games, but obviously supports aren't really getting kills.
No.
So definitely role dependent.
And so Gumayusi Carrier, they're also ahead. They'll have more money as well, definitely, because Teddy does not have a World Atlas. And Fleta going to go aggressive. There is still the Corki, right? The Corki factor exists. But the problem is that he just may not get to the Eclipse, Malignance, Muramana situation, as Gumayusi does have to use the flash. There's a Featherstorm as Carrier trying to get himself out of the way, calls the Ram, and they still manage to get the knock-up. Ona finds the stun, max range. Dawning Shadow flies forward as well, and Ona, he helps them pick up their second kill of the game and continues to go aggressive here, moving into the enemy jungle. As far as kills, and this time around, it is T1. They still have the massive CS advantages and just general global advantages around the map. And Blue Moon Burst not going to hit Satab too many more times. Level 8 now, so does have his rockets available.
And this is one of these situations where Satab has gone the Hex Drinker, which I think is the objective right decision when you're having this much trouble in the lane matchup. But it's just going to delay your spike. It's just going to stall out the point at which this Corki becomes strong, which is always a rough feeling, because I feel like DRX are really banking on that level 16 Corki with 3 items.
Yeah.
Oh my. It's huge, because the Dragon's just going to go down before he gets back.
Yep.
Bear in mind, he has no TP. He just has to fly back over.
And Sponge, he's here, and he knows what's going on, and he knows that there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. See what the soul is going to be, as this one cloud is going to be taken down in 2 games in a row. And then he's spotted on a ward.
But like, what is the point of taking package now?
Well, so that you can get out of this. Nailed it. Sponge going to look for a bit of a shattering strike here. T1 are going to be able to push them away. So, okay, Featherstorm going to be used. Pop Blossom comes down, and that is a dead rel. Nicely picked up there, and Faker grabs yet another one. Good grand entrance, though, as there is the Heartbreaker flash to get Owner out of there. He should be all right, as Carrier takes another turret shot as well. Ooh, Faker taking a lot of damage underneath this turret as well, but should mean that T1 can escape, and it's just Sponge that does go down.
5,000 now the gold lead. You can see 1,000 gold extra picked up from the plates from T1, making a massive difference.
Yeah, just kind of ridiculous.
But I just feel like the most frustrating thing is that DRX still have a game plan, which is play for package around dragons and try and make that a thing, but you've just desynced it. So now either you skip next dragon and wait for the following one to have package, or if you just keep picking it up off cooldown, it's never going to be synced again.
Nope. I also just don't really like the whole situation at all, but maybe desperation here from Satab wanting to try and win some sort of skirmish. But T1, they managed to win that, and now they're pushing even further. This inner turret, man, that would be pretty backbreaking. as far as an advantage. And Carrier is also just using his hammer on this inner turret in the bottom lane, and there's no one there to answer.
Yeah, he's actually probably just going to get that with some support from his AD carry.
Yep. Gumushi should, like, a couple of autos. Oh, just one and a Q.
Yeah, this is not going well.
I'm going to put it in the cons column, absolutely, when it comes to DRX early games.
Okay, now they're going top.
Yeah, Ona is going to be able to get Satab here. Does use the flash, but there's the stun. And is he able to do anything? The answer is no, and he also gives the assist over towards Gumushi as well.
Then you got to think that Satab could have gotten away, but everything connects. They get it, and now a free dragon. No package to worry about here.
And look at these money differences. They are very, 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 very large. Obscenely large. I'm really glad that it was only up for a little while, because that was...
You know what's the biggest thing for me?
What's that?
Teddy is 100 CS up on Gumushi, and considering how much they lost to get the Herald, like they lost bot tier 2,
and mid tier 2.
Mid tier 2, yeah. They don't even get bot tier 1. I'm going to go with not worth.
I'm going to say not worth. They're also then here for Ona to rotate down. The rest of the team also coming in. There's a Magna Storm from Sponge as we have a look towards the top side. Fleta finds the quickness. They're looking to lock down Carrier, but...
Does he take damage?
No, not really. He's just trying to turn it around, gets a Feather Storm, and continues walking at them menacingly. Look at him. Just trudging down the rift, breaking his own things, and just not really worried about anything at all. Brittle not going to be proc there onto Sponge. But he also just takes way too much damage as Faker is going to look to support. And now Zeus wanting to find Satab, and he'll find him. And that is a real scary one. Flash does come out, but I don't know whether Satab can escape this. Where's the Valkyrie?
7 seconds.
Yeah, he's really dead.
I don't think you get that long.
And look at the scratch of the head on the player cams there as well. You can see Satab not really happy about how this game is going whatsoever. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't Zeka's fault. Maybe it was. Maybe it's just T1 are too good at dealing with Corky comps. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, I think the chances of Sponge stealing this pretty
limited.
low.
Yeah, limited.
Those procs, though, maybe no, he doesn't even get those.
All right, well, the Ram comes down. They do manage to catch Fleta here as Ona looks for a little bit more CC. Heartbreaker comes down. Rascal going to be the next target here as Teddy takes the base gate. Yep, Faker is after him. There's a Pop Blossom. Teddy able to avoid that. And that will be able to keep him safe. But he needed Ghost and he needed Flash in order to get out of it. Didn't have Featherstorm, but would have needed that as well. Yeah, could have pressed that button. Fleta still running for his life. Sponge doing the same thing. And, yeah, this is a difficult game here for DRX at this point in time. Fleta is going to die, and there's going to be a kill going over to Ona. Now Rascal fighting alongside Satab against Zeus. 2 versus 1. I'm almost favoring the 1 here, but it is going to be Rascal picking it up in the end. As Carrier turns up just a little bit late, and Faker is a little bit distracted by winning the game by the looks of things. Still needs a few more kills like Faker.
He's been hunting for them. You've seen him trying.
Yeah. But you don't win the game, then you definitely can't get the kills.
Yeah. There are more important things at stake right now.
No, precisely. As Rascal going to turn it here. Carrier going to flash on over, and yeah. Gumushi turns up. He's going to protect his better half. And now, you can see Carrier just going to go back home. Satab may just die here, as yeah, that's a bunch of buttons in his face. And Gumushi locks down a solo.
Yep. I think it's kind of how 12,000 is the goal, and 3 dragons would have been a Hextech soul.
Yeah, this is like a vacuum lining, or a void lining, abyssal lining.
I think
there's no lining that's good.
I think vacuum lining. I think
you're okay with that.
I think that's how I would describe it. Yeah, that's what I'd go for.
It's not great. Carrier is split pushing.
The thing is, no one's even nearby.
No one's here. Where is everyone?
Where is DRX?
Well, they're not mid. That's dead.
Well, there's one of them.
Yeah, there we go. So Rascal is going to find Carrier, and Carrier is going to ignore him. I'm pretty sure Rascal pressed a button, but I'm not entirely sure. Pop Blossom going to be channeled here as Sponge is going to dive on into it, looks for a last-ditch attempt as Faker goes golden. He picks up another kill here. That's his 3rd for the game, but he will end up going down. Good package there from Satab, and now he's on the wrong side of this one. Knockup is going to come through onto Zeus. Blade Caller is good, and Zeus will be taken down. But now the cavalry will turn up. There's another Corki. That's a decent way of dealing with it, I guess. But he's going to take a lot of damage. Teddy on the fountain is kind of looking like his old self as that fountain laser. But still, these Nexus turrets are going to be turned to. Carrier looks for the dive forward. Good Feather Storm there from Teddy to avoid him. But now the Nexus will be taken down, and T1 going to look for that swift 2-0. They will find it. Carrier will die. And T1 will get the job done in the end. Decent little dash there from Owner, and he keeps himself alive at the last second. So